Hey guys, you've heard it from me so many times about how awesome the Protégé course is, so I thought it was probably best for you to hear from some of our students.
I went into the Protégé course with a pretty unhealthy amount of insecurity about the music I was writing at the time, struggling to structure tracks, to finish them on a regular basis.
We're going to have a bunch of people basically working in the industry get briefs every week, and then we publish them. I was like, what? That sounds like insane. I've never heard of any other people doing that sort of thing, like actually like mentoring people on like the level of like, no, we're doing it for an entire year. Yeah, that's why I think the Protégé thing is just amazing, because it's targeted. It's, okay, we want this type of music for this type of application. Let's do it. And then, okay, here's where you fell short, here's where you succeeded, and it's just amazing.
I feel like I've learned so much and improved so much in my production skills. I've gotten better at percussion and better at my capacity to write tracks quicker has improved, and I've gotten better at properly responding to feedback, and I feel like now there is more of a future for me in the library world than there was before I started.
It's definitely a course that I would recommend doing. There are so many courses out there, but this one really hammers home on how to write to brief, how to write quickly, and how to write expertly as well. Honestly, the videos are very user-friendly, they're very engaging, and you get to have breakdowns of some of Richard's most successful tracks or Elephant Music's most successful tracks, which has been really useful as well. So I thoroughly recommend to dive right in.
Protégé was one of the best investments that I ever made in my career. It did level up my game, and not just in skill, but also in my confidence. It just made me a more professional composer and a better composer.
But the course did exactly what it intended to do, in that it kind of demystified the whole composition process, taught me a bunch of good habits. And I suppose most importantly, and what I'm the most grateful for, is the fact that it actually helped me to really enjoy writing music again.
There you have it, guys. We are opening our doors for applications for the 21-22 masterclass year with protege.school. Go to protege.tiny.us/apply. That's protege.tiny.us/apply to start your application. One man with one microphone. Welcome to the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another session of the Trailer Music Composers Podcast. Today's a bit of a mixed bag, actually. I was talking a little bit about what's going on with the podcast, what's going on with the Trailer Music School, a couple of thoughts that have been popped up in my mind recently. So let's dive in. The first thing is what's been going on with the podcast. Now, those of you who are attentive listeners, and there are quite a few of you, you may have noticed we had a new format last week, which was where myself, Cody Still and Ciaran Birch just talk trailers, basically. I thought we'd try out a new format for the podcast. You know, we've got the interviews, we've got lots of these ones where it's me talking on my own. I thought it'd be good fun, and do you know what? We had such a good time doing it. We recorded for a good couple of hours. So what we're doing is we'll be sort of cutting those up into more bite-sized chunks and releasing one of those sessions every month, I reckon. We'll see how that goes. See how you guys enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, please leave a comment wherever you can. Leave a review. That would be ace. Big old lorry. Don't see many of those in the woods. I'm not in the woods yet, by the way. So yeah, it was really fantastic, really exciting. All three of us were buzzing, I think. Also, maybe a little bit nervous, a little bit tense. What's going to happen? Because it was largely unscripted. I had a plan for the session where I was going to, sort of shape it, much like a game show or something. But it didn't work out like that. So it's going to be quite conversational. If there are any questions you want covered by me, Cody and Ciaran in our little banter show, then please do let us know. And for those of you in the trailer music school, within the community, you pop those questions in the feed and tag Espen or myself, and we'll address those in the podcast. Which leads me on to the next thing. Those of you may have noticed that there's another face on the trailer music socials and YouTube channel, and that is of Espen Haagensli. He was actually, I think, the first guest I interviewed. He is a trailer music school graduate, now landing regular placements of his own and doing some fantastic work. So I thought he would be an excellent person to show you guys some new skills, because it's very nice hearing, obviously it's very nice hearing from me all the time, but it's very, very nice hearing another person's point of view, another person's creative approach. So he's doing videos for the YouTube channel, which obviously go out. He edits this podcast. Thank you, Espen. He manages a lot of the community aspects of the trailer music school as well, so he's been an absolute superstar, and he's been helping me out for quite a while now, so it's nice to see to have his face out there getting a bit of recognition for the work he's been putting in behind the scenes. So yeah, again, if there's anything you want covered in those videos, let us know. Leave a comment, and we will hopefully put that on the list and start addressing it, because we're here to help, basically. We don't want to just produce content for the sake of it. We actually want to produce content that's helpful and useful to you. And what better way to do that than you say, hey, how do you do this? And we go, oh, like this. So it might be me addressing it on my own, it might be me, Cody and Ciaran, or it might be Espen addressing it, or it might be other members of the trailer music school and the community. Which leads me on to the next update, which is the trailer music school. So those of you who know about it, it's where my courses live. But it's more than just courses, and that's why I kind of created my own community site, my own membership site, really, because I wanted it to be more of a community. Oh blimey, there's so many caterpillars in this area. Not just caterpillars, I mean caterpillars like dangling from trees, those ones, as my daughter calls them, flying worms. Anyway, I've done a quick turnaround because I don't feel like getting a ton of caterpillars in my hair. Anyway, what was I saying? Community updates. Yeah, so I kind of wanted to create this community anyway that was like a safe place to be helped and to learn. Because I initially started on Facebook, but then, as you guys know, when you're on Facebook, I'll get a notification from the trailer music school group, and I'll be like, brilliant, let's go in there. And then I go in there, and within seconds I've answered that initial query, and then 20 minutes later I've found myself just wasting a ton of time on Facebook. So I did it as well for that reason, so it wasn't like a productivity hindrance. And that's been fantastic for me as well, because I like just going in there, dealing with what needs to be done, and then leaving. Well, not leaving for good, but not sort of going down the rabbit hole of other people's memes, basically. And it's been so nice to see how that community's developed from the initial founding members who signed up to the school itself, and to all the new influx of new students, new listeners, new viewers, and new future trailer composers. That's the wonderful thing. And as a way of supporting those of you in the trailer music school, I've relaunched my monthly calls. And those monthly calls, they're kind of like practice briefs. We set a brief and we say, next month we'll choose some tracks to feedback on. And also it's a chance for me to answer questions within the school. And this call is going to go out as a podcast as well. So those of you who aren't necessarily in the school yet will benefit from the community. Obviously it'll go out a little bit after the call has happened. So if you're wondering how you get into the community, it's for those people who have purchased a course of mine. So that's how you get in. You purchase a course and then you get your login details into the site, and then bish bash bosh, there you are in the community. And it's just been so nice seeing how supportive everyone's been. You know, the older students, the founding members. I say old, I don't mean older like they are older people. I mean they are older. They have been with me for longer, since the original dark Udemy days, you could say. So yeah, that's what's been going on with the Trailing Music School. You may have noticed we've also been launching some ads, which has been nice, because although I do get a wonderful amount of organic traffic from people finding me through this podcast, actually, we thought actually it'd be about time we could start ramping up, get more students coming in, help more people become the trailer composers that they wanted to. And I've been getting some wonderful feedback from people. We had a few technical issues with fulfillment, you know, but then once you've loaded up like a huge ridiculous chain of plugins and apps and whatnot, everything was good to go. So hopefully we're over that teething issue, and we should be getting more and more, an influx of more and more students in the school, which is very exciting. And it'll be nice because I'll see them on the call. Excuse me. Yeah, and the other thing I've been thinking about is just, you know, creativity in general. Well, it's kind of like a multifaceted thought about creativity. So, you know, my situation at the moment is I am Richard Prynne, but most of you know me as Richard Schreiber because that was my trailer music composer's name. And I am the founder of the Trailing Music School. Great. So we produce all this content for the Trailing Music School. I'm also the co-founder of Protege with Vikram Goody, who's the founder of Elephant Music and Mammoth Audio. And we founded Protege together, which is kind of like almost like a live apprenticeship type thing for people who want to take their learning literally into the industry. You know, our students are landing trailers and ads as we speak, and which is huge and ridiculous. And I know I've been going on about it a while, but it just excites me an awful lot. So we're producing content for that, and we have Guy Jones, wonderfully talented composer, pretty much running the shop there at the moment. And then there's obviously me as the composer, which is where I produce my work for Elephant Music, Mammoth, and a couple of others, namely Blue Pearl, which is the library that Vic and I have launched in association with Protege. But then there's obviously my, you know, I just like creating. You know, I'm not... The wonderful thing about trailer music is given me the gift of time and money and freedom. So it's given me money to allow me to have more time, freedom of thought, so I don't have to work all the time. I can just take the time to do this. You know, still there's that thing. Although podcasts are huge, there's still quite a lot of people who are like, isn't that for people who don't have a job and just want to talk about nerdy things? Well, the second bit's definitely true. We do want to talk about nerdy things. But that's the wonderful thing about the trailing music, is that it's given me this gift so that I can pursue all those creative things I want to pursue. And that's kind of where my website, richardschreiber.com, comes in. You know, many years ago I started blogging and vlogging and doing all sorts. I kind of did it half-assed though. I found myself sort of being scared about voicing any opinion about anything. I found myself being scared about talking or, being filmed. I found myself being, not knowing what to post about. And the wonderful thing about, because I'm compartmentalising my work into these projects, I have the trailer music school. Well, that's my trailer music stuff. Have Protégé. That's my kind of scoring side. The kind of ad music, the game music, and trailer music as well. That's more like mentoring. And then I have myself, Richard Prynne, and I do daily piano improvisations that I release through Ditto Music, which is like an music distributor. And then obviously Richard Schreiber is kind of like the umbrella. He's the guy that does all of that stuff. But it's meant I can just start doing more and more fun things. And for me, YouTube has always been one of those things. YouTube has always been that, well, I've got time, so let's do these videos. But I kind of got lost along the way that actually I wanted and have always wanted to use my website as like the hub, kind of like a central hub, where if people discover my content, they then have like a clear step into my other projects. This isn't necessarily a roundabout way of me kind of advertising my own website. Although it's nice that I have people listening to this who will then go, oh, maybe I'll go check out richardschreiber.com. It's kind of just a way of saying to you guys, actually, like, I don't always have everything figured out, but part of the fun of this work is not knowing. When I launched my YouTube videos, I didn't know what was going to go on. I just thought, well, how about I just do some Logic tutorials? And that's bringing me in a bit of money now, which is amazing. And when I launched the trailer music school, I was terrified. I was terrified when I did my first videos for the trailer music course. You can hear it now in my voice. It's like, hello, this is Richard Schreiber. I'm a trailer composer. I was very nervous, and I should probably re-record some of those videos with my now much more confident swagger. But it's really, the thing that's been, I've been thinking about it, it's like creativity. It's not always clearly mapped out. And although you can set goals to achieve things you want to be achieved, sometimes the journey between points A and B is unclear. As in, I'm aware that I want to have all of these other little micro projects. Like, for instance, I have a synthwave moniker called Zach Rivers, and I release synthwave music under his name, or under that name. It's still me, but I don't know how that's going to tie in with everything. Does it stay in? But you know what? I'm just doing it because I enjoy it. I'm doing it because I'm curious about doing it. My wife and I have started releasing NFTs, which was actually interesting because it was a Protégé student who put me on it. Thank you, David. Very exciting stuff, and it's really nice to have the curiosity and the drive to pursue those creative urges. And that's the thing about creativity. You don't know where it's going to lead. And that is why so many people poo-poo creativity, in my opinion. When you kind of come out of school and you say, hey everybody, I'm going to be a film composer, everyone's like, ha ha ha, no you're not. You're going to get a job in an office like the rest of us. And at the time you're like, oh, that was mean. But you can't really say, no, I don't agree with that, because you don't know how you're going to become a film composer. Unless you're like, well, first of all, I'm going to move to London and I'm going to knock on every single existing film composer's door, offering my services as an assistant. That is a plan. Admittedly, you could say that, but you still might get laughed at. But it's that interesting thing where it's like, because the creative path isn't clearly mapped out, people kind of will shrug that off as nothing. It's kind of like you're both stood at the edge of a wood and the person to the right of you says, hey, you know what, I'm going to go down this path that says career, and you're going to go into the woods that says question mark. And you're like, yeah, I think I like the sound of the question mark. And I'm kind of, the way I'm trying to get to this point, this kind of ambling point, is that if you want to do creative work, just do creative work. I once wrote a little book called I was trying to be all marketing and cool and professional. It was called the 10-minute method, cashback, which was basically about like spending 10 minutes a day just doing that creative stuff. And it kind of ties in largely with a book I read by Austin Kleon called Show Your Work, where he's basically just like, just do the work and show it, which for us equates to do the work and put it out on social media. So I have a little comic called Dots, Lines and Paper, which is basically me sort of drawing myself, either making crude jokes or just kind of dealing with my day-to-day emotions. I draw it, I upload it to the website, and that gets through like Zapier. That gets zapped over to Instagram through another scheduling software. And that's it. I do that. And the funny thing is, I've been drawing those pictures for years. But just having them being shown, I don't know what's going to happen. Nothing might happen. But the act of doing the work, then showing the work, might lead to something. So I landed my first opportunity because I was showing everybody that I wanted to be a film composer. I was like, hey, listen to this. I would literally just bring people up to my bedroom. That sounds random. That sounds weird. That was where my desk was, And they'd be like, hey, look at this music. I'm going to be a film composer. It's going to be amazing. And I invited one of my friends up, Pip, and I said, hey, dude, check this out. And he said, it was when I was inspired by Sean Callery's 24 soundtrack. He said, oh, you should send this demo to my friends. No, actually, he said, we should get you to write like an intro to us walking on stage. And then the lead singer's girlfriend then emailed me saying, hey, I work for a company in London. And that's how I met Vikram Goody. So the path to where you're going in a creative life isn't always mapped out. But if you don't do the work, 10 minutes a day, whatever it is, if you don't show the work, you can't really expect to get from point A to B. I am all for manifesting and the law of attraction, but there is an element of doing the work and sharing the work that needs to happen. So you need to talk about it as well, and I think that's really, really, really important. Yeah, and I guess I'm also, as with every kind of like mindset episode I've done of this podcast, it's for me as much as it is for you. I'm reminding myself to keep going. With my little projects, I say little because they're kind of in their infancy. I've only been showing the work for 6 months to a year, whereas, I've been showing my scoring and trailer work for years. To remind myself that actually it will come. Do it because you enjoy it and because you're curious about it. That will get you there. And of course, if you do, find yourself needing guidance in your trailer career, then the Trailer Music School is a great place for it. Of course, there are other schools teaching trailer music. And if you, want to get your foot in the door and start getting your work out to the industries, I should say, then heading over to Protégé, because we are bringing in new students as we speak. Where is this? This is June 2021. So you guys are absolute legends. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this slightly rambling, but I suppose it's just a metaphor for the kind of the ambling creative path, but slightly rambling episode. But it was kind of like an update episode anyway, but I wanted to kind of have a little chat with you about, a reminder to keep pursuing those creative goals, because sometimes it feels like you're just walking blindly in the dark, but what you can't see is there are many, many other people walking blindly in the dark right next to you, all in the same direction. So let's move together towards our goals. Yes, I feel like if you were here right now, we'd be high-fiving, for sure. Have a good week, guys, and I'll speak to you next week.